Last week, I talked about how in 2018, I finally crushed my student loan goal. This week, I'm talking about exactly how I did it and the different things that were going on in my life that contributed to successfully beating that goal for the year. Stay tuned. First, let me start off by saying that every individual is going to have their own unique repayment goal. It all depends on your unique set of financial circumstances, like your income, the cost of your housing, whether or not you have dependents to support, and of course your student loan balance. So don't let my goal determine the value of your goal. Everyone's is different. Mine is just the goal that worked best for me. Let's get right into what it took for me to pay almost $44,000 toward my student loan debt this year. The first thing is that I had a very specific repayment goal. I set a goal for myself of paying at least $3,000 a month toward my student loans for a total of $36,000 for the year. The reason this specific goal is so important is because it's very easy for me to know if I was on track or not based on how much I had paid toward my loans. The second thing that really helped me make my goal was that the end was in sight. 2018 was the first year that I really felt like I could see the end of my student loan debt. Starting out with just about half of my original principal balance of $132,000 meant that I was getting really close to being paid off. Being able to imagine myself totally free of the weight of the student loan debt made it a little bit easier to make the small sacrifices needed to pay extra on my loans. The third thing is that I put all my extra money toward my student loans. Now, what do I mean by extra money? Well, when I talk about extra money, it's kind of the stuff that just comes up, like if you pick up an extra shift at work, or for example, my tax refund, that kind of stuff, where you get kind of chunks of money that don't have a specific purpose in your budget. I just dedicated all of those right to my student loan debt. 2018 was the first year that I put an entire tax refund toward my student loan debt, and I gotta be honest, it kind of sucked a little bit. I really wanted to spend some of it on something fun, but I knew that putting it toward my student loan debt would help me get out just that much faster, so that's what I did. Sometimes I would have pretty small amounts of extra money, like maybe only $100 extra, and I would put that toward my student loans too. In the past, I kind of fell into the trap of thinking like, it's only $100, that's not even 1/10 of my monthly payment, so how much sooner is it really going to get me out? Maybe I just won't really put it toward my loans. Maybe I'd just value it more if I spent it. When it goes toward my student loan debt, it really does help me pay it off faster. The fourth thing was that I did give up some things that I normally spend money on in 2018. Typically, I take one big vacation, like a week-long trip with my fiance every year. In 2018, we really couldn't get any of our PTO approved together. We got most of our PTO denied for the year, so we really couldn't get the time off. That meant I didn't take a big trip with him, which, is a different goal of mine to travel, but just wasn't in the cards this year. So I ended up saving a few $1,000s by not taking that trip, and I put all that toward my student loans. And then I have kind of other little nagging expenses that I've just been pushing off. Like we have a living room couch that's kind of getting a little bit worn out and probably could use replaced, but I'm just waiting on that. And I can't get the stupid dishwasher latch to work every time. It works some of the time, maybe like 50% of the time I can get into it. But again, just kind of waiting to get a dishwasher until we really need to do it. That way I can just keep plugging away with that extra money toward my student loan repayment goal. The fifth thing that helped me make some good progress was that I tracked my student loan progress this year and I celebrated my milestones. They say what gets measured gets done, and I'm a total believer in that. I paid off $100,000 in principal this year, and I took the time to celebrate that milestone. I shared it and really felt good about the fact that I had paid over $100,000 of principal off on my student loans. Celebrating those milestones and keeping track every month and every quarter of my progress really helped me to make sure that I was meeting my goal and staying on track to have $36,000 paid off by the end of 2018. The last thing that really helped me was that I started a new job this year. In September, I was offered a position at Tuition.io, which is a student loan repayment benefit company in Silicon Valley. I'm still a licensed pharmacist working on call at the hospital, picking up shifts here and there. But now my full-time job is helping employers solve their staffing concerns by helping employees solve their student loan debt problem. It's a pretty awesome thing to do. And I get to work remotely from Wisconsin, so my cost of living didn't skyrocket. Starting a new job wouldn't necessarily help me pay off my student loans any faster, but in my case, it did because I was sitting on a pretty big bank of PTO when I left my previous job. So when I switched to on-call status, I had over 290 hours of paid time off that got cashed out. Even though that money was taxed like way more than I could have even guessed, it still left me over $9,000 to split between saving up for my half of the wedding and paying down my student loan debt. The PTO cash really helped save me from having this kind of conflicting monetary goal where I needed to save up for my half of the wedding and it got in the way of paying down my student loan debt. Without that, I'm not really sure how that kind of would have shaken out. I think it would have been a real challenge to save up for the wedding and keep on track with my student loan debt repayment goal, but luckily I was able to do both. Because with that lump sum and a little bit of extra savings, I've got my half of the wedding funded, assuming I can stick to my budget. As you guys can see, I had a lot of things working for me in my favor in 2018. I feel really grateful about all of it. Without any of those situations happening, I definitely wouldn't have paid almost $44,000 toward my student loans, and I wouldn't be coming up on being out of debt totally in 2019. I love hearing from my fellow repayers, so I want to know, what helped you reach your student loan debt goal in 2018? Leave me a comment below. As always, if you guys liked this week's video, please give me a like and hit that subscribe button. There's a new video every Wednesday. We'll see you guys next week. Bye!